There are two cases. Nuisance ordinance violation from Lockport Township. One is an accumulation of junk, barrels, scrap, motor vehicle parts, and other nuisance items around the property. The other is inoperable and unlicensed motor vehicles on the property.
In November of 2023, the township issued defendant 2 tickets for these violations. And later that same year, this court found defendant responsible for violating both the vehicle ordinance and the litter ordinance. Final orders were subsequently entered requiring defendant to remove the inoperable and or unlicensed vehicle and litter by dates in February of 2024, and thereafter maintain the property in compliance with these ordinances. Today, you will hear testimony from Mike Hayden, the township's ordinance enforcement officer, who has been authorized to enforce the township's ordinances. Mr. Hayden will briefly discuss the citations that he issued back in 2023 and the final orders that this court issued after finding defendant responsible for both citations. He will then go on to discuss the continued state of the property and how, despite making attempts to work with defendant continues to violate the 2 final orders. Unfortunately, defendant has made little to no changes to bring the property into compliance with the ordinances. He continues to violate the township's ordinances in both final orders by continuing to accumulate and maintain inoperable and or unlicensed motor vehicles and litter on the property and failing to pay the ordered fines and costs. This brings us to today and why plaintiff was forced to initiate contempt proceedings. And then, Your Honor, I'd like to call Mike Hayden as a witness.
Very good. Mr. Hayden, you're under oath.
Okay.
Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Michael Hayden, Michaelhaydon.
What is your position at the township?
I am the ordinance enforcement officer for Lockport Township.
And then what are your responsibilities as the ordinance enforcement officer?
To investigate complaints, send notices, try to work with the property owners to get compliant. If that does not work, then I have to issue a citation and then take it to court for a resolution.
Okay, so it's your duty in the township to enforce the township's ordinances?
Yes.
Just a moment, Ms. Moore.
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor.
Angelique, we got a late start because the defendant couldn't connect and drove in. I won't start those arraignments without you.
Okay.
But I'll call you when we're ready. We're considerably backed up because of the defendant's late arrival, but
No worries.
I'll let the public defender know when they log in, and then I'll make sure you know.
Perfect.
All right, thank you. You're welcome to stay in here, but I'm sure you got better things to do than watch
Yes.
this.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. The assistant prosecutor was here for some things we were going to do at 2, but I don't think we're going to start at 2. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but continue.
No problem, Your Honor. Thank you. And Your Honor, just for sake of going through these, I'm not sure what you prefer for going through the exhibits. I know that we sent you a copy and that we sent Mike Hayden a copy. Would you like me to share my screen for exhibits, or how's the best way you'd like me to do that?
That's fine. You did a nice job of setting it all out. Why don't you screen share it, and then Mr. Kern can see it here as well as anybody that's watching this on the live stream.
Okay, so let's take a look at what is marked as plaintiff's proposed exhibit 7. Now, Mike, what are these?
That is a citation for the litter ordinance, for violation of the litter ordinance that was issued in November.
Okay, and then what is this one?
That would be the citation for unlicensed inoperable vehicles, also issued November 3rd.
Okay, and I'll ask the court to take judicial notice of the citations marked as plaintiff's proposed exhibit 7, as these have been filed with the court and served as the complaint in this matter.
Yes, I've got copies before me.
Now, Mike, are these citations you wrote for the 2023 vehicle and litter ordinance violations?
Yes.
And you wrote these citations?
Yes, I did.
Did you take pictures at this time?
I did.
let's scroll up to what is marked as plaintiff's proposed exhibit 4. Now, Mike, what are these?
That is a picture of vehicles that are inoperable and or unlicensed that are sitting in the driveway in front of the house, along with some barrels and some other litter.
Okay, and I'll try to quickly go through some of these, just all the other ones before I continue, but here's this one as well.
That's
If you
the
want to
same. It's a
just-
different view of the driveway. And
And this
again,
one?
another view of the driveway, some inoperable vehicles. That would be another angle of the same driveway. That is the backyard. There's some junk vehicles back there. There was semi-trailers and some other litter. That is in the front yard. We had some unlicensed vehicles and some litter. Backyard, we have unlicensed vehicle. I believe the tractor is operational, and then 2 shipping containers. Unoperable or a licensed vehicle in the side yard, and then the Explorer in the back again.
And I think, let me see if this was, okay. We'll go through this last one then.
All right, when were those pictures taken?
Those were taken when I wrote the citation, November 3rd of 23.
And you took these pictures?
Yes,
And then do you think these pictures, do these pictures accurately depict the property at the time you issued the citations back in 2023?
yes, they do.
And that's the same date that these pictures were taken?
Yes.
I move to admit plaintiff's proposed exhibit 4.
Mr. Kern, do you have any questions about the pictures we just saw?
Nope.
All right, exhibit 4 may be admitted.
I do have a couple of comments.
All right, we're gonna get to the more current pictures. These are
Okay.
from November.
And did the court find defendant was in violation of both the township's vehicle and litter ordinance?
Yes.
So moving to the judgments in this matter. This is proposed exhibit 3, which I'll scroll up to. Okay, Mike, what are these?
That is the judgment from the court where I believe we had a hearing and he was found responsible by the magistrate, if I remember right.
And that was for which offense?
For both the litter and the vehicles.
And I ask that the court take judicial notice of these judgments in this matter.
Yes, they're also part of the court file. They were due by January 26th of 2024.
Was defendant found responsible for the violation cited in the citations?
Yes, both
then-
citations.
Was defendant issued fines and costs according to the 2 judgments?
Yes, by the court.
And has defendant paid these fines and costs?
To my knowledge, I don't believe so. The last time I looked them up in the system. Which would have been Monday.
We can move to what's proposed as exhibit 1. I again ask that the court take judicial notice of what is marked as plaintiff's proposed exhibit 1, which is in order of this court.
Yes, it was signed in January of 2000. 24.
Mike, what is this order?
That is a order requiring compliance. I'm not sure which ordinance. I believe it's the vehicle, but it was signed by the judge on the 19th of January, 2004.
And this is the vehicle storage and repair ordinance that we're looking at.
Yes. I see that now. I scroll down.
What was defendant required to do under this order?
Within 30 days of the order, he was to remove or eliminate the storage of the licensed vehicle. Unlicensed vehicles are inoperable. And then, or he could repair them and plate them so that they were no longer a violation, and then maintain the property in compliance.
Has the defendant brought the property into compliance with the vehicle ordinance?
Not to date yet.
We can go to Exhibit 2. Then I again ask that the court take judicial notice of this order from this court.
Yes, that's the other citation.
That would be the order requiring compliance for the litter ordinance. Also signed by the judge on the 19th of January, 24.
And what was defendant required to do under this order?
Within 21 days of the signing of the order, he was to clean up the property, remove all the junk, litter, barrels, scrap, motor vehicle parts, etc., and then maintain the property.
Has defendant brought the property into compliance with the litter ordinance?
Not to date.
We'll move to proposed exhibit 5. I'll scroll through these pictures really quick, and just so you can answer some of the first general questions, and then we can go through them in a more detailed way. Okay, and what are these?
I believe those are the photos I took in May when I requested the show cause hearing. That would have been of the property of the date. I don't remember the exact day in May I took those.
In May of 2025?
Yes, May of 2025.
Did you take these pictures?
Yes, I did.
And do these pictures accurately depict the property on the day that you took them?
Yep, it looks like I took those May 7th of 25.
Now we can go a little bit more detailed, and if you could explain to me what these pictures are depicting.
Okay, that is a picture of the front yard, still the same red truck, I believe the same gray truck. And then the black truck off to the left is partly shown. Those are still sitting in the front drive. Another picture of the driveway, unlicensed vehicles and inoperable vehicles. The boat is registered. I will add that. That is the front yard again with a vehicle in it and some car parts and things in the front yard. The shipping containers and a pickup truck. I do not know if it had a plate at the time, but it was not there in previous pictures. And then that is
What is the status of the shipping containers? Is a Lockport Township resident enabled to place a shipping container on their property for storage purposes?
no, they are considered conveyance or a vehicle part, and they're not permitted to be used for storage under the ordinance.
Just a moment. Mr. Stickley, can you hear me?
I can, Judge. Yep.
Thank you for logging in. We got a late start on our case. Ms. Camfield came in And I advised her I'd call her when we finish this. Same thing, we're in the middle of a zoning violation hearing that I'd hoped to start earlier. But I'll call you when we're ready to go. In hindsight, I probably
that's
should
fine,
have tried
Judge.
to do these cases this morning, but as soon as I finish this, we'll try to take care of those arraignments, but thank you.
Judges, if it's okay with you, I'm not at my desk right this second, and I'm
Yeah.
jumping and trying to deal with another issue. Why don't I just check in with you at 2:30? And if I gotta wait longer, that's fine. Then I'm good the
All
whole
right,
day.
thanks. Shoot for that. Thanks.
Yep.
All right, everything affects everything else around here, so we've got a number of people on hold for our next matters. All right, Miss Moore, I keep interrupting you, but go ahead.
You're fine, Your Honor, and we're nearing the end of this testimony anyway, just so for sake of time, so you know that. I move to admit plaintiff's proposed Exhibit 5.
Mr. Kern, do you have any questions about the pictures from May?
Just some comments.
All right, Exhibit 5 is admitted.
Has the condition of the property changed from when you issued the citations in 2023, as seen in these photos?
The majority of it is still there. There have been some vehicles and some things moved, but the majority of the violations are still present.
We can move to plaintiff's proposed Exhibit 6. Just like we did last time, I'll do a quick scroll through and then we can go back through and look more specifically at them. Now, Mike, what are these that we're looking at?
Those are photos that I took this past Monday.
So you took these photos?
Yes.
And what are these pictures depicting? We can go through so you can more specifically describe.
That again is the
Sorry, Mike.
driveway,
I think sorry, I think we had one more. Here you go.
that's the driveway, the vehicles that are sitting in the driveway. Again, the boat is, I believe the boat is registered. It is not a violation, but the other vehicles are. And then a different angle of the driveway showing the same vehicles, and I believe most of those were there in May also. That is some junk that is behind the vehicles that are sitting in the front yard, or in the driveway, I should say. Just another angle of the driveway. That is the front yard with the van and the car parts. That is the backyard. Again, the mower appears to be operational, and so does the tractor, but the motorcycle and the other things would be violations. Some of the violations and stuff that are in the backyard. And then the pickup truck, and I believe that's the Explorer and the shipping container. I believe that was of the front yard. Some of the things that are in the front yard.
Now, do these pictures accurately depict the property as you saw it 2 days ago on September 15th, 2025?
Yes.
I move to admit plaintiff's proposed Exhibit 6.
They may be admitted.
Mike, what conditions are in these photos, shown in these photos, that violate the final orders?
The vehicles being unlicensed and or inoperable, and then the litter that is around the property violates the litter ordinance.
And has the condition of the property changed from when you issued the citations?
Again, some of the vehicles have gone, but there's others there. The litter, it's kind of hard to tell what's been gone, but there's still quite a bit there.
So it's majorly the same conditions that existed on the same on the property?
Yes, some of the same vehicles are still there. It has not been brought into compliance since the order was put in place.
And then have you attempted to work with defendant to bring the property into compliance with the township's ordinances and the final orders?
Yes, I initially had sent him notices before the citations. After the citation and after the first hearing, we'd had some phone conversations. He had told me he didn't have any place to put the stuff. He had had another property or issue with another property and brought all that over to this property. And I spoke to him again before I requested the hearing. And he again told me he's trying to do his best. He just doesn't have anywhere to put the stuff.
And do you believe that equitable relief from this court is necessary to get compliance with the ordinances?
Yes, I think it's going to need the court to force him to be able to do it, or let the township come in to do it, because I just don't think he has the means, or like he said, any place to take care of it.
Thank you, Mr. Hayden. I have nothing further.
Mr. Kern, I'll certainly give you an opportunity to tell me what you want me to know, but do you have any questions for Officer Hayden?
No.
All right. If you give me my screen back. All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Kern, you're under oath. What would you like to tell me?
Well, and it's kind of nitpicky, but number one, the statement that there were semis on the property is false. There were never any semis on the property. And a couple of the vehicles that were listed as inoperable and unlicensed is incorrect, and specifically the Toyota and the blue van that's parked in front of the house. That's really all I have to say about.
There's a red Toyota, looks like a pretty good car. Looks like a Corolla. Doesn't have a plate on it.
That's correct.
But it looked like a legit car. There's also a van that looks like a Chevy Venture van or something in the front yard. You appear to be a Ford guy. All those are F-150s.
Actually a Ford van. It's an F-350.
Oh, it's a Ford.
That is registered.
All right, so the Ford van and the Toyota are operable. All right.
Most of them are operable, but not plated. I mean, within 15 minutes, I could have all but maybe two of them running. From the time the citation was issued, actually, a year before the citation was issued, there was none of that there. I went through a messy estate dispute after my father passed away, and all of my possessions that were on his 63-acre property accumulated over 50 some years were moved onto my property. That brought the first notice. And then after the first notice, in continuation of that, my personal home since 97, where all of my welding equipment, metal fabrication equipment, a lot of my vehicle parts were stored. That was a continuation of the same messy estate. So that's why a lot of the stuff that appeared between the first citation and today actually appeared probably in, I'm going to say, March, April of last year. Basically, everything I own got consolidated onto one property and into one small house. The horse trailer that's currently parked in the front yard houses everything from the kitchen, dining room, and 2 bedrooms of my previous home. So trying to sort and decide what keeps, what goes. It's been a chore, it's been ongoing. Probably not visible from the outside. A lot of the stuff that is being deemed litter is actually possessions that's not. There's probably more value there than, I don't know how to explain it, but I've got thousands of dollars of equipment sitting out in the yard under tarps because I have nowhere to put it. I've made the decision that I need to buy a piece of property big enough to build a pole barn. And that's the avenue I'm pursuing currently with a realtor, Michael Carr out of Kalamazoo. Trying to find a place where I can fix this. In December of last year, I had a pre-built shed brought in, placed as temporary storage to help with the sorting process. And I was told that was a violation. It wasn't. I don't remember the exact terms. I needed to contact Doug Coolman about the violation there. Repeated attempts to contact Doug Coolman. Out of town, family business, this phone number isn't answered, so don't leave a message. I kind of gave up on that. I make what progress I can. I don't, like I said, I don't have the ability to sort as fast as deemed necessary. I work 60+ hours a week, so my solution is buy a property with a large pole barn to park my vehicles. You know, what some people see as inoperable vehicles. I've got a lot of projects, I've got a lot of tinkering, that's my hobby, and I don't have time to do anything with it, but that's neither here nor there. And that's kind of where I'm at. I've resolved the fact that I can't live at this residence with my equipment and my vehicles. So I understand they want them to go, so I have to figure out a way for them to go.
I was on the fringes of that estate matter. Had to do with your sister or 2 sisters,
Just one, well, I have 2 sisters.
and
One ended up worse than I did.
it was your father's property, and it was an estate issue, and then Mr. Davidson was involved, and anyway. Do you want me to put Mr. Kern in jail for his abject failure to follow through on any of this stuff?
No, Your Honor, that's not something that we're looking for today.
I think, Your Honor, the township's biggest pressing concern would be just equitable relief to allow the township to enter the property and clean it up if defendant does not do so by like a date certain. I understand that he's been, taking efforts to clean up the property, but as you yourself pointed out, this has been ongoing for, 2 years now, and I don't think the township or the neighbors are satisfied with the level of how quickly things are being cleaned up. And so I think that'd be our main concern, would be just equitable relief to allow us to clean it up if need be.
Equitable relief means that in some circumstances, the district court has authority to allow the cleanup to be done by somebody else. This isn't the first kind of case like this I've had. I have dozens of these. I have a couple more right now ongoing just in Lockport Township. I have some others in some other townships. What you call treasure, they call trash.
Hmm.
You're a hoarder. You've got too much stuff on this small piece of property. You got three 1980s vintage F-150s Ford pickups trucks that don't run. They're valuable to you, but not to anybody else. Your neighbors are complaining about it and they go to the township and that results in this enforcement action. And really, you haven't done anything to fix it since the tickets were issued, and you haven't paid the tickets. One of the options I have in an extreme circumstance is incarceration for your failure to follow my order that you clean this up. You haven't cleaned it up. So they're simply asking that I give you a date, and if you don't meet the date, they'll clean it up. And it is always a problem as we get into the winter months, because really it's hard to do anything around here. That first set of pictures was in November of 2023. We had a beautiful stretch of weather in early November of that year. I remember I went kayaking, and then shortly after that, it got terrible for a long time. So you're not going to do anything ever, at least not fast enough. I'm retiring next December, and you won't be done with this by the time I retire. So the only way it's going to get done, for example, you're looking to purchase a piece of property with a pole building on it. Well, first of all, you got to find one. You have to get the financing to buy it.
That's done.
All right, you have to move all the stuff. If it was one great big pole barn and you could put everything in it, you'd be in compliance everywhere. But there's stuff in there that you say is valuable, and I won't dispute that it is. Tire rims, machine parts, the stuff's all moldering away out there in the weather. It's rusted, it's got weeds growing up in it. It is not treated with love and respect. It's treated with benign neglect. And your neighbors don't like it, and the township supervisor doesn't like it, and the other people on the board don't like it. So they're spending a lot of money to enforce their ordinance. And so far, you haven't done anything. Nothing. You haven't plated these trucks, you haven't moved them, you brought in more vehicles. The big problem is these storage containers. You can't just plop a storage container on your property and stick stuff in it. People want to use those, they want to use abandoned semis. And most townships won't allow you to do that. You probably could have put this storage building in there, but you need to get permission in most townships before you just put one on site. So right now you don't have a plan. What they propose is that they move it. They just hire somebody, a professional company, and they'll come and take all this off. And they will give you a great big bill, and they'll put it on your tax roll. So if and when you sell the property, there'll be a $50,000 lien on your property for cleaning this up. The other option is for you to clean it up. And I'm skeptical, because you've done nothing except maybe bring in more stuff since you got the ticket in November of 2023. You haven't moved one vehicle. You haven't plated anything. Did you go fishing one time this year?
Actually, I haven't had time to go fishing this
Yeah,
year.
so you got that boat there. Looks like a decent fishing boat. It's licensed. You work 60 hours. Do you work at a regular job someplace?
Oh, yeah,
And where's that?
International Paper in 3 Rivers.
Well, you can work 60 hours a week there all year long. They probably work you 80 if you'd agree to do it. What's your solution rather than wait another year for you to buy a pole barn?
Can you give me 6 months?
Well, that's up to the township. Now granted, it will be expensive for them to do this. For one thing, you haven't paid the fine either.
I have the money in my pocket to do
All
that.
right, well, that will be helpful. Today is September 17th, October, November, December, January, February, March. We're gonna get through the whole winter. It'd be a lot easier if I just order them to do it. And I've seen what happens. They scrape it clean. It looks much better after it happens. But I don't know. I've had not 100 of these, but 50 maybe in 24 years, 23 years, plus all the ones I had before that. What's your thought, Ms. Moore or Mr. Cunningham? I know you're getting heat from your township board and your citizens in the township.
Your Honor, we're not sure that 6 months would be necessary to give him at this point because we've given him, the orders were issued in mid-January. He's known that he's had to do this. He needed to have the litter done by February 9th. And he needed to do the vehicles by February 18th. We're at this point happy to be the ones to do it. We have an estimate. We have a cleanup of an estimate of $20,000. And we're happy to, at this point, clean it up for him and have it just reimbursed on his tax bill. If he was able to get it done in a shorter period of time, we'd maybe be willing to give some more time for that. But 6 months, at this point, we've given the township has been very lenient already.
Well, he's done none. He hasn't done one thing.
Exactly,
He
Your Honor.
hasn't paid the fine. He hasn't moved a truck. We had the tickets, we had the compliance order, we had the other hearing, and he has done zero. All three of those F-150s are not gonna be running trucks again. I don't know if some are parts for the other trucks or.
The red one runs, the silver one in the backyard runs, the black one runs.
Do you need 4 F-150 pickup trucks?
One of them is a 350, and the answer to your question is no, not really.
So you should start selling, but you haven't done it. You haven't done anything. If it runs, you could have put a plate on it and that would make it legit. And you don't need them. Somebody might want a nice vintage Ford F-350 for farm work. So they're ready to go, and the $20,000 would be on your dime.
Can you give me 3 months to show?
Well,
more
I'm
progress?
inclined to give you until the end of the year. And they're ready to do it. They've got professional companies that will come in and do this. But I will grant until December 31st. You could have an auction out there. People come out and buy this stuff. You're talking about it's valuable. What happened is that whole estate thing was so difficult. It knocked you off your pins and you've been in a hole ever since. And you're depressed and you don't have the will to do what needs to be done. So it just sits there. You're not evil. You're not malicious. You just can't force yourself to do it. And it's hoarding, which is a form of a mental disorder, not mental illness, but it's a disorder. I hate to see what the inside of the house looks like. And there you are working your butt off all day, every day at a hard job. I'm gonna give you until December 31st to remove this property and bring it into compliance. And you'd have to start today. Some of that stuff is scrap metal. It needs to go to a junkyard. Some of it might be usable. Some of it, you will use. Some things like the boat, these vehicles can be moved. Some things are gonna be hard to move, those storage containers. I don't know how they got them in there, assuming they came in on some sort of flatbed. But you can't do that. The trailers that you have that have the stuff in it, if they're plated and available as a trailer, you should be able to keep those on your property. But what you need is a giant sale, an auction sale. But that's up for you to decide. All right, he has until December 31st, 2025 to pay to bring this property into compliance, or the township may submit an order granting the township to clean the property and submit the bill to the defendant's tax roll. Defendant shall pay all outstanding fines today.
Where do I pay those, Your Honor?
Right here at the court,
The office at the end of the hall.
yes. Ms. Moore, anything else you'd like to add?
Your Honor, we were also hoping to request that defendant pay the township's actual attorney fees to prepare and bring forth this motion. And then order defendant to pay $150 for each violation, $300 total to the township's general fund for other costs the township has incurred in enforcing the final orders.
The township enforcement is different than every other kind. When you get charged by the county prosecutor, you're gonna have to pay for the privilege of getting prosecuted. When you get charged by the city of Three Rivers and city of Sturgis, you don't have to pay for the privilege of getting prosecuted. Under ordinance law, I had a case last week, was essentially a parking violation case. And they wanted, $3,600, anyway, a large amount of restitution. Everything I ordered that you pay to them is less money you have to clean this stuff up, and I'm cognizant of that. But I am gonna order and it's in the pleadings, what are the attorney fees?
We haven't sent the balance for the attorney fees, but if you are doing that, we can submit a bill of cost for those.
All right. I'll submit attorney fees with a bill of costs. Not to mention that this is all expensive for you, and it could be put on the tax roll as well. But I do have the authority to put you in jail if you continue to violate my order. I asked you to do it. I ordered you to do it. You didn't do it. They did a show cause, which cost the township several $1,000s, which is all your fellow Lockport Township residents are paying for this. And you're not the only one. Like I said, I've got several cases right now in Lockport Township, but it's expensive to enforce. So, Ms. Moore, I'd ask you submit an order stating that the defendant shall bring the property into compliance by January 31st, 2025, where the township may have the authority to bring the
Your Honor,
property in.
I'm sorry to
That's
interrupt.
Yes.
You said just January 31st here, were you meaning
No,
December
December
31st?
31st.
Okay.
I've been doing that a lot lately. I think it's a factor of the fact that I'm losing my marbles, but I've been saying the wrong month often, several times this week. December 31st, 2025, end of this year. Effective after January 1st, the township can pursue the cleanup. Although as a practical matter, nothing much happens in January. The ground's frozen, the stuff is cold, it's winter. But I'm making it through the end of this year. That's about 3.5 months after 2 years of no activity. You may assess actual costs for this hearing and submit a bill of costs. Defendant shall pay current existing fines as of today. Anything else we should put in the order?
So if I could just clarify, Your Honor, if December 31st comes around, is there going to be a review hearing the court schedules then, or would you just like us to submit an order?
You may,
explain-
that's a legit question. You should just submit the order at that time.
Thank you.
Do you have any help, Mr. Kern?
Little. I
Do you have
do some.
nephews or sons or people that,
Nephew, a son, couple friends.
well, you need some help? All right, here's the 2 tickets. The bailiff will take you out to the clerk's. We'll send you a copy of this order at this Neiman Road address. All right, Mr. Kern, I wish you luck. I don't really want to see all your stuff destroyed. I don't want to see you go to jail.
Thank you, sir.
But I want to see some progress. Also, you're gonna need to stay coordinated with Mr. Hayden. Doug Coolman is no longer the enforcement officer in Lockport Township. Do you have Mr. Hayden's contact information?
Yes, I do.
All right, check with him. You'll find they're not, he's gonna say, all right, this is okay, this isn't okay. You need to move this, you can keep this. So stay in contact with him and he'll work with you on getting this matter into compliance.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.